Hey y'all, hey, this is Jaleisha Jones with Black Woman Fly. If this is your first time here, hi. I am documenting in real time, taking a machete to my life. 9 months ago, I took medical leave, FNLA, for my job of 9 years because of burnout. And then 6 months ago, I quit my job with no backup plan. And then I took the little money that I had in my 401k and I paid my mortgage up until March of 2026. And I also evicted my mom from my home. She'd been living with me for 9 years. She moved out 4 months ago. And 2 weeks ago, my house officially went on the market. And last week, I sold my car. Maybe 2 weeks ago, I sold my car, probably by now. So I've been doing a lot. I am in the process of taking a machete to my life so I can finally choose myself at 37 years old. Once my house is sold, I plan on traveling abroad for a year and exploring and writing my book and pouring into myself and documenting finally choosing myself. And if that's something you want to see, please like, share, and subscribe. Join the community. We have a lot of women here who are choosing themselves or in the process of choosing themselves, who already chosen themselves or who want to choose themselves. So come. Late bloomers, come. But you see the title. I want to talk about not being a good girl anymore, not being a good woman, how that is not a badge of honor, how I rebuke that, I release that, and in 2026, I don't want to be a good woman in any form. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. No. Being a good woman makes it seem like you have to be obedient, you have to be self-sacrificing, you have to be complacent, you have to be in a place where you're always putting yourself last, you're inferior to others. And I want to talk about the three elements that I've noticed where I have been a good girl, a good woman, and I rebuke it and I don't want it anymore. And I'm no longer a good girl. I'm no longer. I refuse. So I'll start and if you've been here, you've seen my journey, but I'll start with the first is my job. I've always been the good employee, the excellent employee for 9 years at my job and for 14 years in that profession. I've always been the good woman, okay? The good employee. I've always made sure I came to work on time. I've always got done with my work before everybody else. I was always the one that was exceeding, trying to go above and beyond. I was always the one that they wanted me to either help other people, train other people. They wanted to use my work as examples to teach people, teach employees. They wanted me to do X, Y, and Z extra work, do all these different things because I've proven myself that I'm more than qualified to do the work that I need to do. And I've been pushing myself for so long, trying to be the perfect employee. I think like 10 years ago, in my previous job that was in the same profession that I was in my last job, I wanted so much to be a manager. I was pushing myself. I was climbing the ranks. And I remember one instance where I had been at my previous job, for probably about 4 years at that point, and I had been busting my butt. They used my calls and my claims for examples to teach other new employees. I had gotten promotion and I had got another promotion. I remember I was in a new role and I was working with one of the women there, and she had been there probably a year and a half. I had been there 4 years, and she started getting promotions and higher pay than everyone else. Well, she was getting low on the low promotions. Like, they weren't telling people that they were giving out promotions. She was getting, like, every 3 months she was getting a raise of some sort. And we had an annual raise, but she was getting raises every 3 months. Now, I wouldn't have had a problem with this if she was performing at the same level that I was, and if she was taking on more work than I was. She was not. And I sat there and I thought, I'm doing all this work. I'm busting my butt trying to be the best employee, the good employee, the good girl, the good woman. And y'all still ain't giving me no money. Y'all still are tripping. Y'all still are underpaying me. And then contrast this to real life, where Black women are always underpaid and we're always the one that's striving more, the most educated, the most the most equipped to do the work that is required. We're the most skilled, and that's been shown. Statistics show that now. But we're not getting paid that. We're doing all the work and we're busting our butts, getting all this education, all this technical skill, all this knowledge, and we're still not getting compensated for that. And then when you see someone else who's doing less, you like, look, what is going on here? What is this? But see, that's the issue, my personal opinion, that we're trying to fit ourselves into a society that was never for us, or to a work environment, to a corporate America that doesn't want us there to begin with. Look at the state of America this year. Black women are getting fired and let go more than anybody at an astronomical level. And these are women who have spent years in education, spent years in medical, federal government. There are women who are majority highly qualified who are getting let go at an astronomical rate. And what that should tell you is that you're not safe in these spaces. You're never going to be safe in these spaces. And so, if anything, it's more incentive to look at what can I do to bring more wealth or more prosperity or more abundance into my life that I don't have to depend on these people. Or how can I just live my life with not giving so much of myself to these jobs, because they're not going to protect you. But I was a good employee, and I'm getting sidetracked. I was a good employee at my old job. And when I saw that happened, that woman she was getting all these raises, baby, I left. And I went to my last job that I quit. I went to that job and it was coasting. I was doing everything I was supposed to do. I was a good employee and I was getting annual raises, big time bonuses. The first couple years, I was feeling real good. And then when I started to want to get promoted, because I'm not good just standing still, I want to grow, I want to learn. That's when I came into getting knocked against the wall, because they were like, oh, you need to learn more. You need to do this. But I had already learned. I've been in this profession, in this field, before I got this job for over 6-7 years. I know my position. I know the work. I've done multiple different avenues. But it was always, you got to do this, you got to do that, or you need a degree. At the time, I did not have a degree. I actually went and got a degree that's has nothing to do with my job. I got a psychology degree because I care about mental health, okay? I got a psychology degree, and I thought that would change something. It didn't. They didn't care about that. And they wouldn't have cared if I got a business degree. I'm gonna keep 100. But I was steadily getting more money. And so it became more comfortable for me because I was getting more money. And I was like, okay, I'll just deal with it. But what I found was that because I was exceptionally good at my role, I was so good at it, they wanted to give me more work, more and more work. And see, I'm prone to anxiety. I'm prone to depression. I'm prone to a lot of pain and stress and fear and all these different things. And I have panic attacks, or I used to have panic attacks about my job, about obsessing over being good, making sure I did this right, make sure I do that right. And I used to be an overworkaholic, okay? Because I was so worried about messing up or not being good enough or being let go that I would stress myself out. And I think it contributed to me having high blood pressure because I didn't care about anything else but my job. I didn't care about nothing but my job, okay? What I found at my last job, they would give me more work or want me to do more work, but they would not raise my pay or they would not give me a promotion. And they would say, if you do these extra things, if you do this, and then we can look at you to see about giving you more or see about promoting you. And I'm like, I know the game by now. I'm not about to do more work to get more unhealthy for y'all so y'all can not hire more people that needs to be qualified for this job. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And so I would not do more work. They were like, you want to do, oh, no, I don't want to do anything. You would have to force me. This would have to be in my job description. But come to this year, I had been trying to coast for so long as being the good employee, the semi-good employee at this point, because I've been doing this, that my body was just like, I didn't care about showing up on time. I didn't care about being productive. I didn't care about showing up to the meetings. I didn't care about being my happy-go-lucky self that I normally am. Like, no, you're not going to get this. It's too much. It's too much effort. I can't fake it anymore. I cannot. And then I started getting really frustrated because the job when COVID happened, they were giving us all these, extra holidays. Like they gave us Juneteenth because of what happened with George Floyd. And I thought this is just performative to me, okay? But when this past year on my job, they've decided to take away Juneteenth, or decided to take away the being paid or being off for that time. And they took away Martin Luther King. And I was over it. I'm not gonna lie, I was just over it. You can't really speak who you are. You can't really say how you feel. You can't really vocalize your displeasure. Like I'm not with the fake anymore. I'm just not. And so I rather remove myself from places that really doesn't support or honor or see me as an individual, because I am a woman. That's one strike, but I also am a Black woman. And you have to be able to really see me. You have to really hold space for me and honor me for me want to continue to give you my energy. I don't have it in me to fake with y'all no more. I just don't. So I'm done being a good employee, okay? I could do a job where I'm working remote and I am working small amount of hours or freelancing because I can create my own time, but me actually be back in corporate America and having to fake it, I can't do that anymore. I just can't. Moving on to the next, being a good daughter. This year has taught me I'm no longer a good daughter. I'm no longer a good daughter. And I've been very transparent about my journey. My mother was living with me for 9 years. And before she lived with me, she had been out of town. She had been living in another state for almost 7-8 years. And before that, she had just hit her first year of sobriety. She had been an addict for about 7-8 years. And that included time away from me. She abandoned me when I was a teenager. I had to go live with my father. And my mother raised me. My mother was a single parent. And I had abandonment issues and all these different things. And when she moved in with me, it was supposed to be temporary. It was supposed to be 2 weeks. But 2 weeks became 9 years because I dimmed my voice. I dimmed my shine. I just swallowed whatever was going on here. I swallowed it. And oftentimes I find that, especially in the Black community, there is this thing where you have to respect your elders. And even when I put that video out about my mom, I had a lot of older women saying you need to respect your mom, you need to do all these different things. And to get respect, you have to give respect. And I don't go by what the older generations believe, that if mama said it or grandmama said it, that's it. No, I am my own person. And the thing is, the funny part about it, my mom raised me to be my own person. When I was a child, my mama used to always say, you're not a follower, you're a leader. And she used to tell me, say it, you're a leader, you're a leader. And so words are powerful. And what we speak about, what we think about, how we speak about ourselves, it becomes part of our subconscious. It becomes how we move. And without me even knowing, as an adult, the reason I've suffered for so long is because I'm not meant to follow protocol. I'm not meant to follow everybody else. I'm meant to do my own thing. I am a leader. I am my own person. I have my own thoughts. I have my own feelings. And what I feel is valid. And if you want to be in my life, you have to respect me. I grew up in trauma. I grew up where there were daily fights and there were arguments and there was physical violence and there was abusive behavior in different levels, and there was, emotional abuse, and there was verbal abuse. There were so many different forms of it. There was also love, there was also care, there was also consideration, but there was a lot of unhealed trauma. And so as an adult, I've taken it upon myself to do the work that's required. Like, I've gone to therapy, I've done self-work, I've done journaling, I've done meditation, I've done my own self-analysis, and I'm still doing the work continuously because it's never ending. And if I can work on myself, then I cannot be around other people that refuse to work on them. And the funny part is, within my journey with my mom, is that I had started doing the work on myself back in 2019. I started really being aware of how my actions have contributed to the life that I was living and the pain that I was in, and that in order for me to rebuild my life and reclaim myself, I have to love myself. I have to honor myself. And setting boundaries with men, that was easy. I could have dooed off. But setting boundaries with my mom, hard as heck. Could not do. One moment I would tell her, you can't talk to me this way. You're not going to talk to me this way. You're going to have to get up out my house. And then the next moment I'm feeling really guilty. I'm feeling ashamed. I'm feeling like I'm a bad daughter because who else is going to have my mom's back if I don't do it? I'm the only child. She needs me. And then I find myself apologizing. And it becomes this loop, this cycle of her knowing that my heart is too open and too sensitive, and in me letting myself get into the same dynamic with her controlling and trying to control the situation, and me resenting her quietly resenting her. And what I found was my mom always had an opinion about everything. You should go to college. You need a degree. You need to go to this church. You need to go to that church. You need to go here to find a man. You need to do this. You're not doing this right. You hang around the wrong people. You hang around these people. You need to hang around over there. You need to do this. Why are you wearing that? Why you look like that? You need to wear a wig. You don't need to wear your bald head. Why are you doing that? We could do this. You need to wear lashes. You need to. She was doing all these different things and saying all these different things. And people say things, right? People talk. But for me, it was this sensitivity chip that I had that even when I would say I love myself, I'm powerful, I know who I am, her voice would be like an echo chamber. And it was so powerful. And I gave so much of my power to her willingly. And I think this traces back to my childhood in a way of me always trying to please her or trying to feel like wanting to be loved and fighting for that and fighting just to be seen. And for me, being seen is being accepted for who I really am, that I'm not the person that you raised, but I still am your child. I still am your daughter. But it was like, no matter what I did, it just wasn't good enough. I went and got the degree. I went and, I started wearing the wig. So I had been wearing the wigs. I had been this beauty, all into my beauty. It still wasn't good enough. I went to church when I used to go to church. I went to church. I devoted myself to church. That didn't work. I did all the things. And I still wasn't good enough. And it was getting to the point where there was verbal abuse that I was being told that I wasn't good enough. I was being told that I hadn't done nothing with my life. And I just sat with myself for a while and thought, why are you around me? Like, I sat with myself and thought, why do I have this around me? Like, why do I have this energy where people love me, but they are not loving me the way I need to be loved? And when I say that, I mean, I need compassion. I need somebody that pours into me and supports me. I don't need you to uplift me one moment and then knock me on my ass the next. I don't need the instability. I cannot function properly in that. And it was painful for me because I had been wanting my mom to move out. I had been wanting to choose myself. I had been making all these decisions, overeating, spending, buying the house, doing all these different things, trying to suppress what I really wanted, which was my own freedom, my own independence, my own autonomy. That when it came to the beginning of this year and I was going through my anxiety and depression from work and I just was so tired, I couldn't even rest in my house. And I was like, you can't even give me this. I'm in pain and you can't even give me this. This is no longer feasible. We can't do this anymore. And so we had a big blow up, and I've talked about this, but I realized I don't want to be a good daughter anymore. Being a good daughter has caused so much suffering because I'm trying to make somebody else happy that will never be happy, which hindsight is not my responsibility. It's none of our responsibilities. It would be nice to be caretakers to our parents, right? They brought us into a world. But at the same time, their mental health, their emotional health, how they treat others, that has nothing to do with us. Like, that is their responsibility. And you are your own person. I am my own person. And I have to look out for me. No one else is going to do that. No one else is going to save me. No one else is going to have my back. I have to do that. At the end of the day, it's like, you only get this life. And my mom made choices. My parents have made choices of how they want to live their life. They've made choices. I'm still making choices, and I'm only human. They're human. But I have a choice. I don't have to do what mama did, what daddy did, what grandma did. I don't want to do that. I don't. And I've talked about this before. Like, I've seen the product of my mom trying to take on and trying to take care of everybody, trying to help everybody. She had a relapse. She became an addict. She abandoned me. She tried to do everything the right way and crashed. She still kind of crashed now because she's trying to do so much. She's trying to work, and that's her own business. But there is this pattern in my lineage, my maternal lineage, where we work our butts off. We are survivors. We don't play. We are warriors. We got to do it, because if we don't do it, nobody else gonna do it. We got to shoulder the responsibility. We got to do this. That's who we are. And I realize as the granddaughter and the daughter of these women, that I have a strength. And if that's in me, that means I can use this strength for something else. I don't have to do what they did. I'm not going to dig my own grave early. I'm just not going to do it. There's too many warning signs of me hurting myself and harming myself, trying to fit this parameter of being a good daughter. Hell no, I don't want to do it anymore. Who told us that we had to be everything to everyone else and not be that for ourselves first? I think a lot of people are fearful of standing up for themselves or having their own voice. But you only have one life to live. You only have this life. And if you give all of your power over to somebody else, they will abuse it. They will hurt you. They will harm you. Will it feel good to stand up for yourself? It should, but initially it won't. When I told mom to get out, I was so pissed at that point. I could barely talk to her, barely look at her. I wanted nothing to do with her. But I still loved her. There's still love there. And when she moved out, and she's been gone almost 5 months now, I don't miss her being here. I love my mom, but I don't miss her being here. And I think it's really, really good that she has her own space and her own identity outside of me. And I'm really coming back to learning me at this stage, who I am now. My identity is separate from her. We had this really, really toxic codependency connection. And now it's like we're in a space of healing, and we miss each other, but we also need space. And so she still wants to get close, but I want to back away because I need that. I need that. I need the time to reparent myself and no longer be the good daughter. And a lot of times when you are separating yourself from someone that you've been really, really trapped in this like unhealthy dynamic with, you can slip back into old behaviors. And so I'm really, really not wanting to get close again. I'm enjoying this distance, and I'm also enjoying the fact that when I sell my house, I'll be able to be outside the country for a little bit, because I think we need that. I think we need to rediscover who we are and to bridge a new way of being within this connection. And so to anybody who is dealing with being a good daughter, what does that serve? Like, what does that serve? You want that on your tombstone? She was a good daughter? Or do you want, she chose herself, she honored herself, she valued herself, she loved herself, she prioritized herself? That's what I want. I want to be an example. I want to show my lineage, my people, my ancestors that there is another way of being. And if I have children, if I have something that comes from me, I want to show them that there is another way of being and there's another way of existing. Okay, and the last element I want to talk about is no longer being the good woman with men. This is my favorite topic. Well, kind of, sort of. But I have no man, and I've been very transparent. I've been single my entire life. And I've been told if I just do all these certain things, you know, have the bomb body, have the bomb weaves. As you can tell, I have alopecia. But I have alopecia because I spent majority of my 20s trying to have the video vixen look and destroying my hair. destroying my scalp, okay? Mental health is a whew, mental health is real, okay? But I've done all the things. I used to be a church girl. I went to church trying to get me a man. I went to the clubs. I went to the bars. I done spoke differently. I done acted differently. I done morphed into Keisha, Misha, Qualaquisha, Bisha, Banisha, Shaquisha. I done did it all. Or Marion, or Madeline, or Megan, or Ashley. I done did it all. Or I changed my voice. I done did it all. I done did it all, and I'm still single. And what I realized is that being a good woman, or being what you think that society deems as a good woman, is going to always get you last. It's not going to always get you disappointed. It's going to always get you in a place where you are aligning with people who don't really see you for you, who don't honor you for you, who don't value you for you. And I've been in all those dynamics where I've only aligned to men who have been verbally, mentally, sexually, physically, emotionally abusive in various different ways, and who did not value me as a person. And I will always be like, why can I get a good man? I have a good heart. I'm a good woman. I would do X, Y, and Z. I would do this for you. Because I don't have my own identity. My identity is them. I've given all of my power. When I felt the most attractive, or when I've aligned to people, is when I'm showing up as myself, when I'm speaking my mind, when I'm owning my autonomy, when I'm doing me, when I'm not focused on no man. That's another reason why I want to go abroad. I want to explore, because this is not a good woman. A good woman would stay and have a corporate job and keep the house and think about, retirement in 30 years, and think about, taking care of mom and taking care of dad, and, just buckle down and, settle with some guy and pop out some kids. That's what a good woman would do. She would do those things. I have good friends that do those things, which is fine. That's their choice. But I'm not a good woman, y'all. I'm not a good woman. I don't want that life. I do desire love, and I do desire having a family, and I do desire having my own joy and my own bliss, but I don't want it to be what everyone else's expectations or everyone else's idea. I want it to be my own, and I want to discover that for myself. And I think that women deserve to explore themselves, and they deserve to find out who they are, and they deserve to be radical and liberated and be wild in their own way. And when I say wild, I'm not talking about being loose, even though you can do that, but be safe. I'm just speaking about discovering your wildness, discovering your freedom, your free spirit, your inner child, reconnecting with what you loved as a child, what you found bliss in and joy in, and living that way. Using your voice, being bold, being proud, because it makes people uncomfortable when you really are not a good woman, when you really are standing your truth. Especially in this world, because patriarchy is so loud. They don't want women, especially Black women. They don't want Black women to have a voice. They don't want Black women to be seen. They want to diminish you, but they still want to take from you and steal from you. And so I'm thinking in 2026, I'm not a good woman at all. I'm radicalized. I am loud. And when I say loud, not like actually loud, but I could be, but really just loud with my aura, and standing in my truth, and being open to newness, being open to bliss and joy, and whatever comes from that. And I was thinking of this book I love. It's called, my favorite book of all time is called Their Eyes Are Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. And the main character in the book her name is Janie. If you haven't read the book, you should read it. There's a movie starring Halle Berry. It's a good movie, but the book is better. But in the book, you have this woman who has always been the good woman. Even as a child, she pretty much was married off to this old man, and she had to perform and be his lover and be his caretaker and be all these different things. He died, or she left him, I think. I don't remember. I think she left him. And then she got married to this man who she thought would be everything and anything to her, and he turned out to be emotionally and verbally abusive. I think at one point he was physically abusive, but every man that she had been dealing with at this point had been trying to dominate her, because she really was a free spirit. She really had her own thoughts, her own mind, her own everything. She was her own person, but the men around her were trying to diminish that. And then her husband died, and he was at the time that he died, he was a mayor of the town that they were in. He had a lot of money, and so she was wealthy. She was pretty much good, and she's an older woman at this point. And then this man comes into her life. He comes into the town. He's a younger guy, attractive, ain't got no money. He just look, but he don't see her as the woman with all the money and the acclaim. He sees her as her, this vibrant, very sensual, very open and loving and raw woman. And he sees that she's been hiding that, and that connection brings that out of her. It draws that freedom, that liberation, that wildness out of her. And I'm not going to tell the whole story, but that connection changed her, and it allowed her to fully embrace who she was, who she had lost touch with, because the men around her, the people around her, had said she needed to be appropriate. She needed to be a certain way. She needed to look appropriate, act appropriate, be appropriate, talk appropriate. She needed to do all the things. And it was just killing her. But she just quieted down when she came in contact with someone who said, nah, I want all of that. I want you to be your wild self, Janie. I want you to be that. And it just opened up this whole new world for her. And I think that's the whole purpose. I've loved this book since I was a child. And who knew? I loved the book as a child because I probably felt like, that's me. And I didn't even know that was me. But it's just this concept of the full radicalized woman, a Black woman, being loved and honored and seen and valued. If I'm going to experience love, I'm going to experience joy, if I'm going to experience bliss and all these different things, it has to be me showing up as my true self, which means I'm no longer a good woman. I'm no longer a good daughter. I'm no longer the good employee. I'm just me. And it might make people uncomfortable. It may not be what's appropriate. What is that? But that's exactly what I need to be at. That's exactly who I am. I no longer identify with being good. Good for who? This is radical act of self-love here. This is a radical act of self-love to say, I no longer want to appease or make other people happy, because my joy, my bliss, me is more important than all of that. Is it selfish? People could say it's selfish, but selfish is self-love. To be honoring yourself and prioritizing yourself and putting yourself first is self-love. I can only know me if I honor myself, if I learn myself, if I spend time with myself, if I actually protect myself and be a warrior for myself. So that this year has come a culmination of me really realizing I ain't no good woman. And I don't want to be. And I won't be. 2026 is a year of really, really stepping into me being radical. Radical with myself, radical with my truth, radical with me as a woman. Just radical. Oh my gosh, just radical, y'all. Just radical. So that's all I have, okay? Can I have people in the comments who have given up being a good woman, or who would like to give up being a good whatever, good sister, good friend? Because the thing is, when you give these things up, you actually welcome the connections and the alignment and the friendships and opportunities that really are for you. Because you're not playing the role anymore. You're not wearing the facade. You're not wearing the mask. You're actually showing up as your true self. And then it brings you in alignment with people who actually want to be around you, who actually like you for you being yourself. It brings you in alignment with things that you want to do and opportunities, because you're actually showing who you really are. You're not trying to fit the mold. Okay, there's a community for all of us. So let me know in the comments, because I went long today. Let me know in the comments about anyone who is giving up something. What are you giving up that's good in 2026? What are you claiming for yourself? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys soon. And I send love to you all. Peace out.